Hello, welcome to Sept of the Red Branch, where we are again zooming out of the sept itself. Except we're not focusing on people stealing a dead body this time, thankfully. No, instead we are going into the innards of Galway City. For Maeve, it is a nice, wondrous experience seeing various things and various people. But you appear outside a little bar, essentially. You walk in and it's your standard quid pro quo Irish bar, but it's got some very interesting decor in it. All the various wheels and all that sort of stuff. It's very much reminiscent of the port town that it is. It's got a very mix of classical vibe. However, there is a lot of symbolism here. There's a lot of tri-spirals. There's a lot of fascinating things that kind of take your mind, trinkets, everything. You kind of sit around for a bit. He has a nightclub here somewhere in the back. But as you're sitting at one of the tables, you kind of patiently waiting, probably like, whoa.
Oh.
He appears out of the ether, like out of the back room, with a smile on his face.
Oh. Poof.
Oh, with a beautiful, again, handsome, carefully cropped beard. Maeve.
Good afternoon.
You are looking as extravagant as ever.
Thank you.
He'll sit down across from you, just lounging. He's got such a casual swagger lean, you know what I mean? To what do I owe the pleasure? You did say that you were so eager to see me.
Oh, I promised to meet with you and then disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the hands splay a little.
I'm glad you kept me in your consideration.
Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Smirking.
And I had no idea if there was anything in particular you wanted to talk about, or...
Oh, well, I am always here to listen to you, and I'm always here to be entertained by what you have to tell me. If anything, it is always a desire for me to get to know you.
Oh. And, I mean, there is a glance back, just because, like, where the fuck did he even come from?
You can tell it was like it's one of the side doors by where the main bar is, and he just walked out of it. With so casual, just the hair flip, like, blah.
Your club is very subtle.
Of course. One attracts different punters. One has to earn the right to be gaining entry to the back rooms of where I like to conduct my work.
Oh.
Have a select audience makes the appeal more greater. Therefore, add to the rumor and mysticism of the whole thing and appeals to the eye, the very, very focal point of what people want to see. Hence why you are here, I imagine. Here's a wink.
Sheepish. So it's about creating exclusivity?
Of course. Exclusivity breeds curiosity.
There's finally just kind of that nod of like, oh, well, fuck me.
Shit. Shit.
I can't even deny that. It's done so very successfully.
And plus, once you have the correct, classical Gaelic presentation here, well, they never want to leave, do they?
I suppose not.
Gives a spread of his hands. I know my crowd that I appeal to, Lady Maeve.
Clearly you do. Much better than I do. Oh, Jesus.
He grins. Why do you want to come back to my night room?
I'd admit to being curious.
Oh, well then, Lady Maeve. He eases up so casually, so gracefully, like a dancer nearly.
Ooh.
And holds out the hand, if you'll permit me. Of course.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, there is no shame in indulging people when they want to be fanciful about something. She will absolutely give him the hand and let him hand her up out of her seat and guide her back however he sees fit.
Oh yeah, he just leads you, holding the hand gracefully, like you're some sort of noble lady being led through, like VIP. Excuse me. And this is some of the shit you see in this nightclub. Let me just zoom out for you.
Jesus.
It leans around, yeah, cages and everything, like little bird cages that you can sit in and drinks. It is, wow. It's very interesting decor, but you can tell it's not opening hours. But oh my.
It's definitely a jarring change from what's upstairs.
Exactly. It's like you're literally stepping out into another, like unveiling like stepping beneath the veil.
If nothing else, the expression on her face should be extremely pleasing. It's one of those things where she steps through and just like, oh. She didn't know what she expected, but it was certainly not this.
After all, once you step beneath the veil of your deepest desire, then becomes the true level of curiosity, don't you think?
I suppose so.
Why restrict yourself to one thing that you're curious about? Why not have everything?
Everything is a lot.
Oh, it is, and that's why you have to appeal to different curiosities, rather than just be mediocre and settle for one.
Yeah. Is he going any particular way, or is it just look at my kingdom?
Oh, he just lets you. He leans you around, holding you by the hand, just like you are a noble lady. Just like I'm just going to lead you to here, and oh, look at this, and oh, there's a stage, there's a dance floor, there's various DJ sets. It's just darling, you know what I mean? He's so stylish about everything he does, Maeve.
Yeah, the curious looks around, she takes it in. She doesn't need to be subtle about it. If anything, he'll probably enjoy the fact that she's getting, distracted and caught by different things. So she does. She kind of indulges in, the look around, however much he does show her, and just, idly as they're walking about.
Oh, you recognize from familiar scenery?
Oh,
Yeah, from what you saw the other night. That night.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone from Seth come here regularly?
Depends. Some do, some don't.
It's a
Some
very
are much
non-answer.
like, well, I would like to. It's more kiss and tell, Lady Maeve. Grinning over at her like,
Are you kissing that many of them?
oh, I kiss everybody, Maeve. Didn't you know that?
I did not. I
I've
shall
kissed
consider
you.
myself forewarned.
Well, I've kissed you at least, so I think I've at least won that one. Goes a little wank, you know what I mean? It just slides along.
Dude, she is so out of her reach on this, and she's just kind of having fun with it. So yeah, it's a sheepish look all the same, but
But some are very much like your rune and are very antisocial and make things. Grant clicks his tongue like make things difficult, as it were. They like to prostrate themselves, which again, it's very mundane. I find ruins the fun for everybody else.
Aww.
I mean, the idea I picture, some I think do it because they feel a sense of out of control, like they're not used to that feeling.
I suppose not everyone likes that.
No, but that's why they'll never have full control over themselves in the end.
It's quite a statement.
Well, if you can't be comfortable and learn to experience something that is out of control, how do you know your limits of control?
She licks her lips thoughtfully. Fair. Then again, I suppose there's a difference between the people who don't like losing control at all and the ones that just want to be surrounded by the right people when they do.
They want to control being out of control. Oh, that's quaint. Because to me, that just explains their mundanity.
It's a side glance. It's a bit of a smile. Losing control in a place where you can't control any part of the setting, you'd have to be absolutely sure that no one was going to take advantage of it because there are people
Oh,
that do.
and you are right. But one of the rules of my club is that in order to fully blend in, you have to be out of control. However, most try to change it or order me about, and I don't waste time with that. In fact, it's an insult, really, when I guarantee the epitome of it. This is the very thing that I want people to experience, safety in chaos. But then again, most people don't believe me, which again I am so used to at this point.
I assume he's like got the arm lead type
Oh
thing
yeah.
going. So she finally, brings the other hand over, sets it on his for a second. If it helps, it's not as though we were familiar with the place and knew the rules. The last time it was a
Well,
lot to take in.
did you ask?
I couldn't find you for a long while.
Did you ask anybody, or did you merely assume?
Most of them weren't in a very clear state, it didn't seem.
It didn't seem. Winks. Not everything as it seems, Lady Maeve. Sometimes you just merely ask. But I noticed a few things. Again, I am not mad. What do I have to be mad about? You all turned up.
We did.
But I noticed certain behaviors before I made my approach. I like to obviously do that. I think anybody does, really.
To plunge people into something they don't know anything about and then just see how they react. Seems almost cruel.
I told you it was going to be a party and there would be loud music and excitement.
Excitement's a broader term than I thought it was.
But see, you're looking for somebody to blame. What happened? What tragedies befell you?
Oh, no, I'm not blaming anyone. If anything, maybe we were just a little too uptight about the whole thing.
I noticed that, and that is why certain people have certain opinions, but me, I am as easygoing as the river stream.
I mean, you can understand. She does glance, like, searching a little bit. You do understand why we're cautious.
He's just laid back as fuck, James. So laid back. You know what I mean? Oh, I can understand. Like I said, I'm not the one who has formed the opinions. Me, again, as easygoing as the stream, Lady Maeve.
You look it.
What do I have to fear?
Very nice to be so calm.
What do I have to fear? For if anyone does have a problem with me, they can speak to me directly. I don't do gossip. Well, not that kind, at least. Give that little smile, like, you know what I mean? It's that.
Okay.
And I don't waste time on pettiness. If they wish to ask things, then ask them and stop wasting the time. We have far more important things to be doing.
You want far more important things.
While making sure that the guru are provided for, taken care of, provided an outlet for the deep rage that is held within them.
It's a very interesting take on an outlet.
What, by enjoying yourself as a Fianna? It appears you have not decored yourself among the wildness yet.
I didn't come from anywhere local, so no, it was definitely a pretty bold step forward.
But it does not matter to me. I have studied the behaviors in those who I will care to engage. He just gives a shrug, like, meh. It is the most meh.
Meh.
Like I said, he doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? He's so fucking chill about everything. As if he's made his decisions, and there we go. My decisions are made. Poor Jaskar, though, he was very offended. I do believe he and your rune had an engagement, and has not heard head nor tail from him since.
Oh.
Poor darling was expecting something, but I suppose that is the nature of the shy boys.
Of the what?
The shy boys.
That's a little crack of a smile.
Always do love to be chased, but never want to chase themselves.
I don't know that I'd assume that much.
Oh no, darling. He leaned down. I've met all types. Shy, bold, and boisterous men and women. I think in this department, Lady Maeve, I have the expertise.
True, but how accurate a read can you get on a person after one situation?
One situation is all you need to see who they really are, depending on the circumstance. And in regards to the pleasures of life, it's very obvious.
Seems a little bold.
Oh, I am. After all, I'm a Fianna, darling. Boldness is what I do.
Hair flip.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just so effortless, Maeve. And he's said with such sublime confidence that, you know what, Maeve? You kind of believe him. He could read people like fucking that.
She's more than halfway convinced. But yeah, she ain't fighting him.
Poor Jaskar has a lot of self-pride on his work and his talents. I fear he was a bit offended, but again, this is nothing that can't be remedied with another socially awkward drink. He just gives a smile as if that's not the concern. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? So blasé about it all.
This guy was the one in silver, yes?
Yes. I believe he gave your rune the night of his life.
Oh.
But then again, your rune struck me as a man who, again, is so shy and so concerned about himself that he will never truly learn to let go. It is fine. It is who he is. No point in trying to change it, otherwise it would be boring.
I suppose not.
Well, why change something instead trying to perfect it? But then again, I fear he does not like me, so I don't engage.
I just don't think he doesn't know what to do with you.
No, I know dislike when I see it, darling. Grins like, yeah, that's cute, mate, but, you know, pat, you know what I mean? But I do not care. I know you like me, and that is more important.
I do.
Well, there you go then. Why should I worry about somebody who doesn't when I can worry about somebody who does?
Very forward thinking.
Oh, darling, I am always forward thinking. Otherwise, well, I think I'd die.
It's just oh. It doesn't seem a little over the top?
No, I think it's perfectly accurate for the Fianna. Although, just sit her down, you know, at one of the little chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Does he always interfere in courtships?
What do you mean?
I believe the young man, Santiago, was engaging with the little red-haired girl. And your rune interceded.
Oh, it's just because she was All for tits.
Oh. Did he think Santiago would take advantage of her?
It's just something we've always been taught. You don't let people make decisions that they wouldn't have made sober while they're
Oh, I
in a
see.
state.
Oh, quite the assumption.
It's not
It is.
anything bad about your friends. It's just one can't give proper consent when they're not in the right state of mind.
Ah, right state of mind. By asking somebody to dance.
Things were progressing pretty rapidly to more than dancing.
Mm-hmm. I see. This gives a smile.
It's
Then
just like why girls crowd together and look after each other when they're drunk.
I know that.
Shrugs.
I know.
It wasn't meant to
However,
be any offense.
oh, it was. Don't you worry. You were not there, and neither was I, so I'll not pass too much judgment on it. But from what Santiago described, it was quite brash.
I mean, if it helps, I was wrangling her too and trying to keep her separated. She obviously
Mhm.
was really off.
If it helps, she volunteered. She chose to be that way. Chose to submit herself to all the pleasures. So in the end, he kind of gives a spread of his hands. What she was told is she would not be harmed. Instead, she would receive nothing but pleasure. But then again, nobody does ask. They just assume here. I notice with many of the guru.
We were just being cautious. Nobody was
You are
trying to be
all
nasty.
always cautious, Maeve, but you must learn that sometimes caution comes across as offense. Particularly when you're under our roofs. A little smile, a little playful, like mischievousness in it.
I feel like someone who takes offense at being thwarted when they're pursuing someone in an altered state.
Oh,
It speaks more to them than to the person that was stemming in the way.
oh, really? He leans back like, oh, I see. Did you know the instance of which Santiago pursued the young lady?
Of course not.
Do you care to ask, or are you assuming that he was doing something untoward?
At the time, I was just worried about her. I found her just sitting in a hall, completely off her rocker.
That was not the time I'm referring to, Maeve. I'm referring to when he asked her, walked up to her politely to ask her to dance, and he was rebuffed quite aggressively.
It was after we pulled her out of the hallway.
I see. But did you explain that? Did you say something?
I'm
No, you.
searching. I'm sure we mentioned that she didn't seem in a very good state.
That's not what I heard, at least. Just smiling. He doesn't seem so. There's no aggression out of him at all. It's just so. It's like he's dancing. But then again, I am merely the messenger. I'm not offended, but I could see how people could be, considering some of the gossip I've heard about particular attitudes towards me.
Gossip?
Oh, I've heard several people talk about me and their disdain.
It's just kind of a fussed look.
But then again, I am used to it, darling. I am used to many people talking of the disdain of who I am. But that is fine. I've heard some people inquire about my claimage. Yeah, he does that. The click, 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 click.
I mean, she finally displays the hands.
As if I'm some piece of cattle that needs to be disciplined.
No, of course not.
No, it is fine, Maeve. Pats her hand. I'm not offended. What's there to be offended over?
That sounds offensive.
It
sounds
is.
offended.
But if I was to be offended, then it would show that I am bothered by such things. And I am not bothered by a barking dog.
You know we don't look at the kin that way. She kind of looks pained, almost like, we don't look at the kin like that.
Well, it was sad. So I'm not going to pursue it about who said what and who did this gossip game of 15-year-old girls. Instead, I am merely going to take note who comes into my patronage and keep a weather eye and do nothing, which seems more infuriating, if anything. Grinning, I shall greet them with a smile which winds them up to no uncertainty. I shall be the most endearing host. Oh, Katie, that smile. You know what I mean?
She's caught between, I want to be annoyed because you're upsetting people, but at the same time, who can complain if you're just being a good host? She just, I don't know how to feel.
I mean, from his position, he should be mad because hearing gossip like that about he opened his doors to people, you know what I mean? As a Fianna, that's pretty, do you know what I'm saying?
It's still one of those things where it's like, that was mentioned to inquired to one person, I thought. So it's like, fuck.
Oh, he hears things. It's even in his bio. He's very keen on the gossip, Katie. You imagine a lot of people come here and tell him all sorts.
Jesus.
They tell him everything, Katie. That's the entire point of why he has this place.
Duh!
Get all the fucking secrets and gossip out of you while you're inebriated. But shh.
Damn it, James! Well, that was a lot. But the club is beautiful. It's very odd, but very endearing.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be disarming.
It's very curious. Why those lamps? Pointing to the eyes, ooh.
Because my eyes are always watching to make sure you're enjoying yourself, darling.
And that's disarming.
Exactly. People like to be amused by that sort of behavior.
It's a very interesting place. I'll have to come back sometime when it's open.
Oh, most certainly. I'm sure you will love it.
I hope your friends are still around, not deterred at all.
Oh, they're around. They're always here, in some form or fashion.
Throws him a quizzical look, because, Jesus, that was weird and cryptic.
Grinning. But no, some are here, some are not. Some are politely keeping distance.
Oh?
Oh, it is the nature. They grew are creatures of rage. To hear that they have been offended or offended one is a sizable caution.
I'll have to come see if I can't mend some fences.
Oh, you don't need to, darling. We kinfolk cannot regenerate, so we learn to keep a healthy distance. It is part due of our course. You yourself have not done anything wrong, so don't try and do right the wrongs of others. If anything, it lowers your quality.
Why is that?
Because it looks like you are taking responsibilities of those whose actions they should take responsibility of themselves. Only they will be able to answer for them. You trying to mend the fences when you have done nothing to offend anyone. Some people see that as a cop-out. Others see it as a quality of your character, and some would consider you being the fool. Myself, I see that as just speaking to your kind nature. However, that nature can be taken advantage of. So I would not practice it, so you cannot be taken advantage.
It's kind of a quizzical look. I just hate to think that any of the people we know would take advantage of kindness.
Well, everybody assumes the worst of everybody. I'm gathering.
Not everybody.
Thankfully not.
Because it's still kind of tugging at the edge of her thought line. It's just, it's a very abrupt change of subject. She finally glances over, and was it you who told the story when we were here?
Yes. Why?
Just kind of like nods a little. Just everything's kind of she kind of makes the gesture. Everything's kind of scrambled up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a kinfolk, so fuck it. And seeing as it came up again, I was out speaking to spirits. One of them showed me portions of the tale like it was history that she'd witnessed.
Things do leave an echo.
You do. They do. But it seems like more and more here, in a place old enough to have strong echoes, the echoes tend to come back.
Depends on the echo, my darling.
Oh, of course. Just kind of like shakes the head a little bit, like, bleh. But still. To hear it one night and then see it soon after. Just must be a very strong echo.
Oh, I imagine it is in some aspects. But then again, I am not attuned to the spirit world as the guru are, so. He gives a smile.
Nor the shame.
Oh, endearingly, I suspect.
It's a very rare quality. I can hardly hold it against you.
Gives a shrug. And yeah, maybe you can hear the door opening in the background.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, when footsteps get to a point where they're not around a corner, she'll glance. Oh, jeez.
So dramatic all the time. Every time.
Oh, when she does see you come around the corner, she'll smile because, Jesus Christ, he's 110. He's just at 11 all day, every day.
Every single day. Oh yeah, he gives her like a nod to James. James smiles. He struts. I mean, Santiago struts the fuck over there, mate. Because a lady.
Oh God, what are you doing? Let's see this. Exactly 11.
No, he even does the lady move.
She's smart enough to realize she needs to offer this man a hand as he comes over because he might literally be bereft if she doesn't.
Heartbroken.
Cast himself on the fucking floor is no chill.
Oh, does the bow and everything? Like, oh, you know what I mean?
Oh. Evening?
Hair. I mean, to be fair, Maeve, this man dresses fancy. He dresses in style. You know, the sharp, slick back hair, the sharp. I mean, it's fabulous, Maeve. Just woo.
Look, as far as she knows, he's probably kinfolk. Might not be, but he's nothing to.
Whatever he is, he's
about.
fabulous.
He's fabulous.
You know, the smart jacket, it's just, whew. Very
Look,
closely.
it's over the top shit. It makes her smile. She can't help it.
I did not realize I would be in the presence of such a beautiful lady again. As he pecks your hand.
I'm sorry not to give you more warning,
Oh,
so that you could
it is,
compose yourself accordingly.
it is all right. I had time, and that is all that matters. You know, just the little like head bow.
Yeah, no, it's just the big brilliant smile. He's the perfect amount of ridiculous, and she finds it very endearing.
And he just stands up and fixes his jacket. It is good to see you again. Are you staying for the festivities?
Um, Actually, how late? I mean, is it one of those things where it's opening within like the next hour or something?
Uh, next 2 hours.
I don't see why not. She kind of glances to James, like if that's okay.
James just gives a very like much like the picture. If Lady Maeve wishes to stay, she may stay.
Then yes, absolutely.
Oh, I'll put it like this. Well, then I shall certainly steal you away for a dance at least once.
I think I would be utterly bereft if you didn't.
Oh, my darling, do not speak to me in such a way, otherwise I may have to cast myself on the floor and propose to you there and then.
Fucking propose. Violet gets her to crack a giggle.
In my native Spain, we do not see redheads as often, so every time I see one, oh, you know what I mean? Just like he spreads himself out, like he's on the cross.
Grabs his fucking heart like it's gonna pop out of his chest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I had to have to at least compliment on their beauty. You understand? If you are uncomfortable, I apologize, but oh, we ignite such a fire in me.
I'm fine. You're a very expressive gentleman.
Oh, well, why not? I am, in order to be expressive among you all, it is, they say, the fruit of life.
So it is.
So why not deny? Why not fully express oneself to make sure that the beautiful lady in this case is comfortable?
You are too right.
There's a grin like, yes, yes.
Oh god, she loves it. They're so ridiculous and duh.
James Blake, is there any other reason you're here, Santiago, aside to woo the lady away from my arms? And Santiago goes, oh, of course.
Oh,
I needed to discuss a certain few things with you when you have the time regarding new shipments coming in for the club and all that. James just nods. He gives that hand wave like, yeah, later. You know what I mean?
yeah. Maeve does glance over it, though. If you need a moment, I don't mind.
Well, make yourself at home, darling.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah? Santiago just slides past you like, excuse me. Maybe he's so fast. Quick. Excuse me, my darling.
He's just gone. I mean, there's the glance after the flutter of curtains. She's just like, wow.
Yeah, James just eases up like, walking after her.
The man, that face of I have to deal with this energy level all the time. What the shit?
Yeah, pretty much. He just walked after him like, "Hi, make yourself at home, darling." Santiago is a handful as he strides to, and they're speaking Spanish rapidly at each other. You can hear from behind the curtain.
Yeah. Let's see. Making herself at home. Yeah, she's finally getting a look at the place, like without it being packed full of bodies. She didn't even know there was a proper dance floor. She just knew there was an area where there was elbow space. But yeah, she'll walk by one of the caged like seats just out of sheer curiosity, like touching the bars as she goes, and probably come around to look at the dance floor again.
Oh yeah, no, it's impressive. It's not a nice, intimate. You can move in, but it's not too crowded. So when you're it actually has some capacity. It doesn't feel like you're all spawning on top of each other like a mad orgy. You know what I mean? It's got room that you can actually swing your hips in.
Gasp.
But you hear behind you. Do you always feel comfortable outside of the cage, babe?
Ugh. whip around. Outside of the cage.
Mm. You look very curious to step back inside it. Just walking up beside you.
It's an interesting motif.
I suppose it's a design that she steps inside. When the music starts really going, you open the cage and release yourself out into the ecstasy.
Well, I like that.
Oh, well, of course. It is the escape from the mundanity.
I suppose it is.
James was telling me that you were, from what he heard, that you were fascinated by the children of Lear.
Oh, yes, it's just come up several times and it's kind of caught my imagination.
One of them did have bright red hair, so I imagine the fascination behind that. And was remarkably beautiful, even as a swan.
I suppose so. Then again, swans are usually considered beautiful, aren't they?
Oh, of course, but you get the picture, though. Deep white furs as well as the bright red hair. You can imagine how they blended together.
You know what? Just out of curiosity, in the imagery she did see, did the swans have like patterns to depict
Yep.
their color? Oh,
Yep. Yep.
so yeah, it's funny because it's not like she has to imagine it. She just kind of conjures that kind of mental image back
One
again.
had blonde, one had brown, one had red.
So yeah, it's a distracted nod. It's one of those like kind of turned inward looks. You can tell she's visualizing.
But then again, she steps up beside, like coming up behind you, so you're just at the she's in the cage and you're kind of just staring out. So she'll step behind you. Do you often wonder what it would be like to be one of them?
Glance back. Having to. If I feel for them.
You do.
Of course. Having
Why do
to
you? Why do you feel for them?
losing their mother, having to outlive their father, only being able to speak to him, but never to hold him even when they had to leave, knowing that he would die after they left their first lake.
Imagine how empty the holes were that were once filled with light after they left. Imagine that emptiness.
And of course, the king having to lose a wife and then lose his children.
Mm. Like I said, they say King Lear drove himself mad. Even Shakespeare had him gouge out his own eyes.
You can't really blame him, can you?
No.
I say the worst kind of grief there is losing one's children.
But imagine if you had centered all your very being of your heart and your soul into that creation, and it was ripped from your heart. Imagine what the world around you would do that you've created.
It would have been terrible.
Yes. And imagine then being the people around that. I imagine there's more tragedy in the children of there than many people give credit for. Everyone suffered.
It's probably the saddest tale I've heard, and it's very short. It doesn't really speak to all the rest.
No, it
You can
doesn't.
imagine.
when she touches your face, again, when she touches your face, like, running her hands over your cheek, there is this. Her eyes, man. They're the most expressive thing you've ever seen. They convey sadness, loneliness, but yet great, fondness and memory. It's like all of those things in one.
Castle must have been a very bleak place.
Yeah, it must have been. Another tale I heard is that his servants did everything they could to try and restore the old king's happiness. His subjects, even his nieces.
She takes a certain amount of interest. Yeah,
But
kind
they
of
could
turns out.
But they could find nothing, for they could find no remembrance of them. No anything, just merely forgotten elements.
Did he not even have paintings of them to look on?
He tore them down, cast them out from the hall, so they may not remember their faces, for the memory of them was so painful. And then, when he realized in his grief and folly what he had done, he wept.
Never heard this story.
That's not one commonly told. People are more interested in the juiciness of the whole thing, not the aftermath. They're more interested in the tragedy of the children gone away than the man whose fingers they slipped away from.
And she turns about a little bit and finally slides into like that, the edge, the first edge of the seat, the the little caged thing, and scoots in a little bit to invite Eve with a pat, like essentially the I want to hear this.
No, she'll sit down. She'll tell you stories about how his fiddle player played the endless beautiful tunes, yet no music could sate him. It's different stories about all the efforts that were done. Great champions, great things. You know what I mean?
Great artists, great heroes.
Yeah.
Everyone tried to bring him around and none could.
Yep. His niece, her final stories, his niece begged him, wept beside him. And yet all he called her was a pale reflection of the things he could not see ever again.
And what happened to the kingdom?
Oh, bedlam and ruin fell apart by the wayside. Forever shattered.
No great hero to come and rouse them again? No. Nothing?
No. Nothing.
It's like an unfair end for a fairy tale.
Falling back into time. Becoming not time at all, so they say. Nothing but a land of hushed whispers and shattered libraries.
It doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't, does it?
That's not how those stories are supposed to end.
Fairy tales are often made in order to mask our own sadness, my darling.
This doesn't mask sadness, it just brings it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she brings forward and starts kind of playing with a bit of the hair, thinking, trying to remember the rest of what she was told.
But if you could, would you restore that balance that was once lost, or would you let time be time and let it fade beneath the earth?
Oh, of course I'd do something, but one can't very well just write a new ending to a story that old.
Could you not? Could you not restore it to what it was in some form or fashion? If you had the opportunity, of course.
I guess.
What would you do to get there?
To write an end?
Hmm.
You'd need to find one of those, I suppose, who were left. One of those who was already striving in the tale. So that you had someone to see and to know that there was a chance at redemption. And then something would finally have to change. They'd have to come back, or someone would have to come into that place to change the state it was in.
What a smart girl you are. She plays with Maeve's hair.
It seems strange to think so much about a story that when they've written it down is so short, but you have to pay mind to the tone of it. So surely one of those attendants, or the niece, the fiddle player, one of the heroes, someone who stayed in the castle, someone who lived there, would have to be the one who still had their eyes open while he was driven mad.
Like I said, what a smart little girl you are. She plays with your hair. You know, as James comes to sit down beside her.
Quirks a bit of a smile, just because, like, very flattering, but she doesn't. And it's funny, it's a chick, so Maeve doesn't have, like, that. I mean, Maeve's so used to Guru life where there's a lot of interplay and physical touch and whatnot. She doesn't seem to mind it at all. It's not setting her off or making her uncomfortable. Yeah, she'll just scoot over a little more when James comes back, unless he wants to fold into the other part of the seat.
Oh, he does. He just slides in beside Maeve. Eve to the left, you James is to the right of you.
Slides all the way around. Meow.
Oh yeah, and he tells him what you said, and he leans over. Wow, Maeve, look at you, preparing to change and save everyone from the different tragedies of the myths.
You can't leave a story like that the way it is. That's not fair to any of the people in the story. They're not supposed to end like that.
No, it's not.
It just reminds me of all the stories you hear about some great horrible thing happens, and then there's this great deal of time, kind of like, I don't know, like Sleeping Beauty. There was a great deal of time where the whole kingdom slept, but then something did come to change it. It's almost like the story was stopped before it ended, and there was this great period of grief, and
Well,
then nobody
then
got to write the end.
perhaps maybe you'll be the hero of Lady Maeve, riding in on a noble steed to save the kingdom from falling into ruin. Maybe that's what the next sonnet I'll write is Lady Maeve and her golden steed.
It's a quirk of a smile. Is it that good a story?
Oh, a young woman, guided by a vision of change and determination, and comes in to write the stories long forgotten, but yet so bereft of sadness, with nothing but her determined heart and wise words. Oh, I could definitely spin it into something that you would enjoy.
I'm sure you could. Some say that self-insertion in a story is the highest form of vanity, but I guess Shakespeare did it a lot.
Well then, my darling, I shall begin working.
It's a sheepish smile because, like, aw, that's really nice, and I feel kind of bad for putting myself in the middle of it, but aw.
I shall tell the story of Lady Maeve of the Golden Sun. Neve claps. That kind of like, I'll put it like this, Maeve. You've seen some of the noble women do that. You know that? You know what I mean?
Quirk of a smile, just because they're, again, as far as she knows, they're just very eccentric, and it's very endearing.
Very teeter tropey. You know what I mean? Have you heard James and I sing and play?
I've heard James play.
Oh, my darling. James will just incline his head and step out and over towards, like, you can see he's like, I'm just going to back in 1 second.
Just gonna get this fucking fiddle. Oh.
Comes over. Well, Lady Maeve, if you will indulge us, we are spontaneous and random, and I have not sung with my darling in quite some time, as James does a little, like, oh, at her, you know what I mean?
Far be it from me to downplay spontaneity. Please.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Buckle the fuck up, lady.
I am so not buckled. Fucking hands in the air, let's do this roller coaster.
Let me just find the right music for this.
No, while you're finding the music, I'm gonna how about fill my coffee before it all gets cold.
Oh, I see how it is.
Sorry, it beeped after we started. And I was like, no, don't turn cold.
All right. I got it. All right.
Ooh.
22 seconds.
22 seconds.
That's when the violin kicks in. The fiddle like.
Over here. And set it closer to 22 seconds. Ew.
Maeve, I mean, I'll put it like this. You've seen some people sing, but hers is, I will roll for it. Hers is captivating. Because you're about to get some shit done to you.
She is such a happy, like, pleasantly eager audience.
Okay. I'll put it like this, Maeve. As she's singing along, you know what I mean? The violin, she hums and she twists and she turns, right? She changes songs.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And it's like as she changes and twists the songs, it feels like you're shifting with her, if you get me. And it feels like as if you are in a large, powerful castle. Do you know what I mean? With the most grandiose halls of silver sheets, and the walls are brightly shone with this ethereal light. Impossible to imagine, but yet at the same time, all too real. I'm gazing up at you as you look down in the beautiful dress you're in, of mixture of golden and silver. They seem to just interlayer with each other, but yet it doesn't burn your skin. Let me just get him. As she sings and hums along, twisting and turning. It's like you are as well, dancing, turning, twisting, as if you're locked in just an embrace with like a mother and a father. Everything just seems just to get away from you, really.
I love this song. Yeah, it's one of those things where Maeve, being a Theurge, might help with this, but she doesn't really question it. It's one of those things where she sees it and it's the very definition of like absurdly fairy tale, like elaborate everything.
It's like, again, for Maeve, it's like you're dreaming as she's singing. It's like you almost lose yourself in the dream, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And it's very reminiscent of actually of that scene from Anastasia where you just start twisting and turning around, dancing with these immensely clad, beautiful figures. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I know, and as you finally reach down to one knee, you will see that man in his bright, flowing robes. He looks very much like with the king, with the crown hovering above his head. He looks, again, old, but yet still powerful. Yeah, extends the hand, and as you go to reach for it, that is when you kind of snap out of it, much to the applause of Evie and James.
Here's the beauty of it. Does she end up like in a completely different part of the room by then?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the very plain kind of blink of wait, what? As she's realizing that not even necessarily that she's moved yet, just processing the sudden snap from vision to reality.
Evie just smiles,
Yeah, she glances over at them and probably like turns at least some shade of pink because I did something. Who?
Oh, don't be ashamed, Maeve. It was quite endearing.
Albert looked as good to you as it did to me.
Oh, darling, it looked amazing.
It like tucks the hair behind her ear, like, I didn't just do something completely ridiculous.
But it's weird. You still, in the back of your head, hear that sweet violin music just eternally playing for a brief period of time.
And I assume it's one of those things where she may not remember the face clearly after the fact, but in the moment, that was definitely him. Like it felt right, where the images in the books always feel wrong.
Exactly.
Well, then she just kind of, at a loss for what else to do, just kind of does the mimed curtsy, when you're not wearing a skirt, but you make the gesture anyways. Like, yeah, thank you, since you apparently enjoyed it.
Just a bow.
I must have gotten carried away.
Don't feel ashamed.
No. It just, it was very pretty. The music.
She just gives that little smile. Do you know what I mean? Well, my darling, I'm glad you liked it. After all, such a beauty of innocence such as yourself should. And James was like, "Oh, darling, yes. One should always enjoy the pleasures of deep music."
Do you think sometime you could play me something longer?
Of course. Don't worry. With what's coming and the more festivals are in, I'll make sure you're present for it. As Evie just gives, she's like, I must go and make sure just Santiago's bringing the. But she, touches Maeve's shoulder, she's passing, giving her that little squeeze. James would just walk over and with a smile.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where she pitches Evie the smile, like, oh, okay, you do you. As James walks over though, and I assume he's still holding the fiddle.
Oh, yeah.
Can I make a very strange request?
Of course.
And she kind of picks up a hand to gesture with. Can you touch it?
You can.
Gesturing to the fiddle.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, you can see it's fine craftsmanship. Deep,
Yeah,
rich oak and everything.
dude, she's no instrumentalist, but she knows that violins, like depending on the violin, can be worth more than your fucking soul on the black market.
Oh, yeah, you can tell this is old shit. Such fine craftsmanship, Maeve. Oh my god.
So yeah, the way she touches it, it's very reverent. It's almost like if she was handling a fetish. But she does just reach out, like, because that was odd, but maybe she can't help but try to touch it, see if there's anything that comes through.
You do feel energy off it, but again, it could be a face, it could not be. You're not quite sure. You know what I mean? But you recognize something deeply old.
It's a beautiful violin.
Passed down from generation to generation of my family.
Things like this are practically treasures.
Oh, yes, my darling. Exactly that.
I say as you type it in the side chat. Yeah, she does. It's the idle one of the fingers. Admittedly, it was more because she's learned more and more that if she's in the right state of mind and touches things, sometimes she gets something off them. It's worth a shot.
You just feel how old it is.
Hmm? You've kept it in beautiful shape.
Of course, one must always take care.
Thank you for playing for me.
Oh, my darling, thank you for listening.
It's not very often that we get to just stop and listen. I treasure it.
Exactly that.
And she, let's face it, she's probably not thinking as she, finishes. Again, it's the gentlest trace of fingers on it as she's finally playing back. It's just, I just wish I could have seen more.
Oh, you will, my darling. You will.
Were the other two supposed to be as. Surely they were as beautiful as the first?
Of course. There were all three of them. As beautiful as the dawn.
Chewing her lip. It's funny, she just goes really quiet for admittedly a prolonged period, just trying to wrestle bits and pieces around in her head. This is definitely one of the more admittedly endearing puzzles she's had to play with. So, how does one write a new ending to an old story?
First, I must have the will to be able to rewrite it.
That's the only part I'm not afraid of lacking.
Well, then we will see, won't we? We'll see what you are truly capable of then, and your will to write it.
You heard all the same stories Evie did?
Some.
About the people around him? After it happened?
Oh, yes. All too well.
Do you have any stories that you might not have?
You lift your chin up, and oh, Maeve, it's the first time you even see emotion on James's face that isn't relaxed. That is not darken the mood with such tales of sadness.
Aww. Yeah, there's just kind of the compliant little nod of understanding. Very sympathetic.
After all, so many things are lost.
They're only lost till they're found.
Yes. So let us not diminish them, shall we?
It's a soft smile and a nod. All right.
I will let you go and enjoy yourself.
Will you be joining everyone?
Eventually. Would you like me to join you?
Of course.
Just an incline of the head.
Very much so.
Very well.
It you know what? There's a lot of implications she doesn't know going on, but it just seems to make her so happy that he's like, well, all right then. If that's what you want, then that's what'll happen. And she's just like, aw. So fucking
Just a, just pecks her on the cheek. Go on, my darling. Go and get yourself a drink.
there will be, the slight nod. Like, okay, I'll let you do your gerb. And after the peck on the cheek, and again, just the sheepish smile, go ahead and kind of glance around to see who's whatting and
Or you can can kind of go to the pub outside, like the pub and the get yourself a drink and and relax.
she'll let herself out so they can get everything done they need to open.
Then as Maeve goes, this woman will appear beside James. They say to each other, like Evie will say, "Look at you, satyr, falling in love with one of them who, well, not love for you, falling and leading by the hand." James will look over. I was told by the king by any means necessary to get what I want. What we both want, Jen. What we both want, Reardon. What we both want. And that's where the scene will end.
Ooh.